progenies. Sisters and brothers, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Ibadullah, awsikum wa iyai bitaqwa Allah. يقول الله تبارك وتعالى في القرآن الحكيم أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم براءة من الله ورسوله إلى الذين عاهدتم من المشركين فسيحوا في الأرض 4 أشهر واعلموا أنكم غير معجز الله وأن الله مخزي الكافرين. A repudiation from God and His Messenger to those idolaters whom you made a treaty with. So travel freely throughout the land for 4 months and know that you cannot frustrate Allah, and God shall disgrace the disbelievers. Verse 1 and 2 from Surah Tawbah, the 9th chapter in the Holy Quran. We start with the usual reminder. Please turn off your cell phone. Make sure that the cell phone is off. And obviously refrain from conversation during the khutbah. The month of the Hajj, the last month of the Islamic calendar, is already started. Within few days, Monday is Arafat or Arafah, and Tuesday is, inshallah, if we are still alive, is going to be the day of Eid al-Adha. This month is unique. It's not only that it contains huge number of activities as far as a'mal, supplications and so on, but it reminds us of a unique event, Hajj. For those who are lucky enough this year, unfortunately, very few from Saudi Arabia. I believe the Saudi government only allowed 60,000 maximum to attend. It's only within Saudi Arabia, so nobody is going from outside. But we have to wait and see what happens next year. Inshallah, we will have a privilege and opportunity to go. 4th of July 2010 was the date in which Marhum Ayatollah Sayyid Muhammad Hussain Fadlallah passed away. So this year was the 11th anniversary of his departure. I would like to ask everyone to take this opportunity and recite Surah Al-Fatiha for him. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. The month of July reminds us of another event, 2006, the war between the Israelis and Lebanon, which was a monumental success for Hezbollah and forced the Israeli government to remind itself that Lebanon has changed forever and you cannot just walk in and do whatever you want. Staying within the political affairs of Lebanon, yesterday Hariri submitted his resignation that he will no longer be able to form a new government. After 9 months of wandering around, he visited practically most of the capitals, European capitals, but instead of staying in Lebanon and coming up with an agreement. So let's see what happens next. The verse that I started, 1-2 Surah Al-Tawbah, sometimes is referred to as Surah Al-Bara'ah as well, because of the first ayah, Bara'atun min Allah wa Rasulih, is a chapter that was revealed 1 year after victory in Mecca. So literally about 9th year of Hijrah. And it contains some of the most important passages regarding the conduct of war and the political relationship during peacetime between Muslims and non-Muslims. The first 12 verses of this chapter which was revealed, and Amir al-Mu'mineen salawatullah salam alayhi recited it to people who were present in Mecca, contains 4 critical matters that some of them apply to our own life. Number 1, only a believing soul shall enter the blessed site. The mushrikeen should be prevented. No idol worshippers shall approach Kaaba after that year. No one will do tawaf according to the Jahiliyyah time anymore. After the victory in Mecca, although the idols were removed from Kaaba, still people who worshipped idol used to come to Kaaba and offer their prayers according to the old customs. What was reprehensible was the Jahiliyyah style of offering Hajj or Umrah or Tawaf required some people who did not have proper clothing to come into Masjid al-Haram without any clothing. So that was prevented. And finally, those who have treaties with the Prophet and the Muslims, the Holy Prophet was commanded to honor the treaty until the treaty comes to an end. And those who did not have treaty, they have 4 months to make their position vis-a-vis the Muslim community clear. The command was crystal clear for the disbelievers. That city, Mecca, had to be cleaned up and purified from idol worshippers and everybody else. Well, we have gone round the clock and Mecca has gone back to the Jahiliyyah. Now we have nightclubs and everything else in Mecca, but that's a different story. What I want to focus upon today is Hajj has been reduced to nothing more than a set of rituals that we engage in without clear understanding of that significant and pivotal part of bara'ah in the context of Hajj. Bara'atun min Allah wa rasulih ila alladhina. This is why Surah At-Tawbah has no Bismillah. Amir al-Mu'mineen salawatullah salam alayhi was asked why. He said, Bismillah is the sign of mercy of Allah for people. Surah Al-Bara'ah was revealed as a stern warning for the disbelievers. You can't bring Bismillah at the beginning of it. This is why we say, A'udhu billahi minash shaitan al-la'in al-rajim, Bara'atun min Allah, bidun Bismillah. Because the verse is a stern warning and must be recited. Declaring Bara'ah, unfortunately, is nowhere to be seen from the Hajj activities. Even in our classes, pre-Hajj classes that we organize, every minute detail of the practice, how your corner has to be parallel to the house, where do you turn left, where do you turn right, all of these are taught. But the essence, the fundamental essence and meaning of the Hajj, this Hajj is supposed to be an annual assembly of Ummah that gets together to discuss the affairs of the Ummah, is nowhere to be seen. Very rarely anybody discusses it. Like other ibadats, have been stripped of their meaning and only becomes some ritual concept that we offer. In the past, a conference, Hajj, used to be an organization where Muslim plights and crises were discussed. Where ulama used to get together, go and read about the past history of our scholars. I actually heard it from Marhum Ayatollah Hakim as a child. When he went to Hajj and came back, we went to his house to kiss his hand, and he would tell us the story of what happened during the journey to Hajj. And the scholars that he had conducted discussion and dialogue in Mecca. Now, nobody has any power these days to even discuss anything. Muslims, unfortunately, every Haji or the one that goes to Hajj is concerned totally about their own affair and totally indifferent to the crisis of anybody else. Unless somebody makes some kind of an effort and comes out of his tent, call it the Iranian tent, or the Iraqi tent, or the Lebanese tent, or the Saudi tent, or the Syrian tent, and walks across to go and meet other Hujjaj from different countries, nobody interacts. Nobody knows what's going on. If what we call an annual assembly of Ummah, the plight of the Ummah is not discussed in it, Kashmir, Iraq, Syria, Yemen, Lebanon, Afghanistan, you name it, is not discussed. Where are we going to discuss it? In our own homes and mosques? Ibn al-Arabi, one of the most famous scholars and mystic figures in the history of Islam, comes from Andalusia, which is current Spain, and goes to Mecca as a place where the congregation of scholars come together, and he sits with them. He offers his point of view and receives their point of view from them. Now, even if you say Quran, I was witness in one of the events in Mecca where a Shi'i stood up and recited Quran with Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim at the beginning of it. The Imam, the Wahhabi Imam that was sitting there, gave an order for this person to be thrown out. And we call that the Congress of Ummah. Hajj is the most intense and demanding of all Islamic activities and obligations. Why? Because it brings together a number of critical components in Islam. Number one, hijrah. You have to leave your home and travel to somewhere else. Those who are going for the first time, probably in non-familiar circumstances, if you haven't gone for Umrah. Jihad, to struggle against nafs al-ammara. Act of worship, which are physically and mentally demanding. Hajj, ihram, you wear ihram and you literally strip yourself of your position, of your wealth, about everything and all the material gains that you have, to do what? To become equal, the poor and the rich. The one that is higher elevated in society and the ones that are not. On the same level. You do the same thing. You eat now, it's totally different. But it used to be everybody ate. Go and read history of Malcolm X and Muhammad Ali when they went to Mecca. They were struck by how the simplicity of life, there were no class, no race, no hierarchy, etc., etc. Malcolm X, in his book, when he recounts his experience in Mecca, he says, I sat as somebody coming, as a convert coming from United States that constantly had to deal with race. I sat cross-legged, which was difficult for me, with people from Malaysia, from Bangladesh, from Pakistan, from Africa, from Caucasia, and everywhere else. And a piece of bread or cheese or something else, we divided it between us. It's the simplicity of life. Now, it's totally different. First, when you organize the Hajj, the first call that you receive from people who want to go to Hajj, the number of stars on the hotels that we are going to book. Is it 5-star, 7-star, 8-star, or something else? Are they going to give us breakfast, lunch, and dinner, or not? Marhum Shahid Muhammad Baqir Sadr, again, he told the students when he came back from Mecca, he said, I had to tell my friends that we are here for soul searching and purification of the soul. Forget about the comfort, creature comfort of food. We can survive. In addition to ihram detaching yourself for the material that gave you some kind of elevation compared to the others. Hajj is a behavior that reenacts a drama, an historical drama that initially started by Prophet Ibrahim, Ismail, and Hajar. And then we go through it to understand what is going on, and naturally by Ahlul Bayt, the Holy Prophet, and others. Hajj is supposed to be a journey in obedience to Allah, a struggle against one's ego and nafs al-ammara, self-purification and submission. A journey undertaken to meet others. Go to Surah Al-Hajj. What does it say? وَأَذِّنْ فِي النَّاسِ بِالْحَجِّ يَأْتُوكَ رِجَالًا. For people to get together. For what? لِيَشْهَدُوا مَنَافِعَ لَهُمْ. To discuss their affair comes first. وَيَذْكُرُ اسْمَ اللَّهِ. Then comes dhikrullah. لِيَشْهَدُوا. For people to come together. لِيَشْهَدُوا. So that the affair of the Muslim, if there is poverty somewhere, the rich people will decide, okay, how do we deal with it? If there are crises, everybody chips in. لِيَشْهَدُوا. We go there, none the wiser, just in own cocoon, gate crush heaven, and then the rest of the time we go for shopping. That's it. If the ritual, and I have asked myself repeatedly, there is a question from Amir al-Mu'mineen salawatullah salamu alayhi about the same thing. If the rituals were all that was intended to be from the Hajj, why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala requires Muslim to undertake an arduous journey, traveling thousands of miles, leaving loved one behind for several weeks at the specific month of the year? Unfortunately, like everything else, salat, saum, ibadat, and so on, the spirit of it has been removed. Which reminds me of a hadith from the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. سيأتي زمان على أمتي لا يبقى من الإسلام إلا اسمه ومن الدين إلا رسمه. We keep the outside shape, but it's empty inside. The spirit is no longer there. May Allah protect us all from being indifferent to the plight of the others and our social and ethical responsibility towards others, inshallah. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim wal-Asr. Inna al-insana lafi khusr. Illa alladhina amanu wa amilu as-salihat wa tawasaw bil-haqqi wa tawasaw bis-sabr. Wassalamu alaykum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله الذي ليس لقضائه دافع ولا لعطائه مانع ولا كصنعه صنع صانع جازي كل ضابع وراحم كل ضارع ثم الصلاة والسلام على خير خلقه الذي بعثه بشيرا ونذيرا محمد وعلى آله الطاهرين وصحبه المنتجبين. أخواتي وإخواني الأحباء، السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. عباد الله، أوصيكم وإياي بتقوى الله. يقول الله تبارك وتعالى في القرآن الحكيم: أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. وأذن في الناس بالحج يأتوك رجالا وعلى كل ضامر يأتين من كل فج عميق ليشهدوا منافع لهم ويذكروا اسم الله في أيام معلومات على ما رزقهم من بهيمة الأنعام. صدق الله العلي العظيم. الحج من العبادات الإسلامية التي أرادها الله للناس لتحقق لهم من خلالها النظرة الشاملة لقضية الإنسان في الحياة، فقد جعله الله فريضة على كل من استطاع إليه، واعتبر تركها خروجاً عن عمق الالتزام الإسلامي، حتى جعل التارك لها في حكم الخارج عن الإسلام. قد تعبد الله بالحج عبادة منذ النبي إبراهيم عليه الصلاة والسلام، وجاء الإسلام فأضاف إليه شروطاً وأحكاماً، وحدد له أهدافاً ورسم له خطوطاً من أجل أن يحقق للإسلام الدور الكبير في الحياة في فاعليته وامتداده. إن أول ما نلتقي به من نصوص الحج هو النداء الأول الذي وجهه الله إلى النبي إبراهيم في دعوة الناس إلى الحج: وأذن في الناس. فإننا نجد في هذا النداء دعوة الناس ليشهدوا منافع لهم من دون تحديد لطبيعتها وحجمها، للإيحاء بضرورة الانطلاق في هذا الاتجاه للبحث عن كل المجالات النافعة التي يمكن لهم أن يحققوها من خلال الحج في حياتهم الفردية والاجتماعية، إلى جانب الروح العبادية المتمثلة بذكر الله في أيام معدودات. وقد يثير القرآن أمام بعض المواضيع حالة من حالات الإبهام والغموض، من أجل أن يدفع الإنسان إلى البحث في كل اتجاه يتعلق بالموضوع ليحقق الشمول والامتداد في آفاقه، فلا يتجمد أمام فرضية واحدة أو وجه معين أو اتجاه خاص. وقد ورد في حديث عن الإمام جعفر الصادق صلوات الله وسلامه عليه حين حدث به هشام بن الحكم قال: سألت أبا عبد الله جعفر الصادق فقلت له: يا ابن رسول الله، ما العلة التي من أجلها كلف الله العباد الحج والطواف بالبيت؟ فقال: إن الله خلق الخلق وأمرهم بما يكون من أمر الطاعة في الدين ومصلحتهم من أمر الدنيا، فجعل فيه الاجتماع من الشرق والغرب ليتعارفوا، ولينزع كل قوم من التجارات من بلد إلى بلد، ولتعرف آثار رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم، وتعرف أخباره ويذكر ولا ينسى. إننا نستوحي من هذا الحديث أن الإسلام أراد للحج أن يكون ملتقى للمسلمين جميعا من شرق الأرض وغربها، من أجل تحقيق التعارف والتواصل بينهم، وتحصيل المنافع الاقتصادية والاجتماعية لمن حج ولمن لم يحج، ولتبادل التجارب والخبرات المتنوعة التي يملكها كل فريق من خلال أوضاعه العامة والخاصة، وتسهيل حركة الدعوة إلى الله بالانطلاق من موسم الحج للاتصال بكل المناطق الإسلامية التي تتمثل بأفرادها الذين يقصدون بيت الله الحرام لأداء الفريضة، فيما يتعلمونه من ثقافة الإسلام وشريعته، وفيما يتعاونون فيه من مشاريع وأعمال وخطط على أساس المصلحة الإسلامية العليا. وفي ضوء ذلك لا بد من أن نعيش فيها الهدف الكبير في تحقيق لقاء إسلامي شامل يستهدف إلغاء كل الفوارق الطبقية واللونية والعرقية والإقليمية في جو من التفاعل الإنساني الروحي، يستشعر فيه الجميع القيمة الإسلامية على هدى الممارسة في وحدة الموقف واللباس والشعار والتحرك. هذا هو بعض ما نستوحيه من تشريع الحج في مدلوله الاجتماعي والسياسي، إلى جانب مدلوله الروحي العبادي التربوي، وذلك هو ما مارسه الأئمة من أهل البيت عليهم السلام عندما كانوا يعتبرون الحج قاعدة للحوار مع كل الفئات المنحرفة، كما كانوا يحاولون أن يحققوا اللقاء بكل العناصر الطيبة التي يريدون لها أن تسير في الخط الإسلامي المستقيم. وعلينا العمل على تحويل موسم الحج إلى موسم إسلامي كما أراده الله، ليكون مجمعاً للمسلمين يلتقي فيها المفكرون في حوار فكري إسلامي سليم، ليصلوا إلى القناعات المشتركة أو المتقاربة، أو ليفهموا وجهة نظر كل منهم، ليعرفوا ارتكاز الجميع على أسس فكرية إسلامية فيما يتوصل إليه المجتهدون والمفكرون، وليعلموا أن أساس الوصول في نهاية المطاف بالصبر والفكر إلى الوحدة في الفكر والأسلوب والعمل. علينا أن نستفيد من موسم الحج ليبقي قاعدة للعبادة المتحركة في حياة المسلم في كل زمان ومكان. نسأل الله أن يوفقنا وإياكم لزيارة بيت الله الحرام عاجلاً إن شاء الله، وأن نستوحي من الحج في جانب الاجتماعي والسياسي والروحي إذا أراد الله. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد كأفضل ما صليت على أحد من أنبيائك ورسلك، وصل على سيد الأوصياء علي بن أبي طالب، وصل على الفاطمة الزهراء سيدة نساء العالمين، وصل على سبطي الرحمة وإمامي الهدى الحسن والحسين، وصل على أئمة المسلمين علي بن الحسين ومحمد بن علي وجعفر بن محمد وموسى بن جعفر وعلي بن موسى ومحمد بن علي وعلي بن محمد والحسن بن علي والخلف الهادي المهدي، عجل الله تعالى فرجه وسهل الله مخرجه، وجعلنا من أعوانه وأنصاره والمستشهدين بين يديه. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.